In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
Hey! It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, what is it, an hour? Two? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
Welcome back to another episode of Raw and Order, the Wrestling Booking Unit, the meaty podcasty goodness that you were promised by Warhorse right there. We are reviewing AEW Revolution 2023. I just got done with the live reaction video. Took a little bit of a break to set up this and get JLB on the horn. So speaking of JLB, let's go ahead and bring him out here. What's going on, man? How are you?
It seems like I'm pretty exhausted after an AEW pay-per-view. Holy hell, but what an intense way to go out with that Iron Man match. MJF, still your champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. And he is going to make sure we all know it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Again.
Wednesday will definitely be a crazy promo for sure.
Yes.
I'm excited for it.
But we will get to it. We're going to do our review of this like we do all of our reviews. Unlike a lot of other podcasts where they go and they talk about each match. Here's what happened. Here's what we liked. Here's what we didn't like or whatever. We're going to start off. We're going to do the worst of the night. Then we're going to finish up with the best of the night. There's a good chance we'll talk about all of the episodes or all of the matches. But there's also a chance that we might not talk a lot about one match because it is neither the best or the worst. We might have different opinions on the best and the worst. And so we're going to go through that. No D.A. Fabe. He was not able to stick it out the whole night. He's beat. So it's just going to be JLB and I.
Yes, sir.
And so we're going to go through it. Just in fair warning, I do have the media scrum on the screen next to me. So if I get distracted all of a sudden, it's because something's happening on there. I don't anticipate we get another brawl out situation. I think they've nipped that in the bud. But we might still get some surprises to talk about. You know, who knows? It's taking a long time for them to get launched on this, though. So it makes me wonder if they're not having some technical difficulties. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into this. Actually, before I start that, I'm going to give a rundown of the matches, just in case you've forgotten in the last 20 minutes what all matches happened tonight. On the kickoff show, we had Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers versus Ari Daivari and the Varsity Athletes. Normally, we don't consider the kickoff show as part of our reviews, but it is important to point out that unlike another wrestling promotion of WWE, AEW did an actual match on the kickoff show.
They were supposed to do two, apparently. But
from a timing standpoint, it made sense for them to do two. They must have eliminated one for whatever reason. They never announced two. This was the only one that was pre-announced, but it makes sense because they did this match. They started this match 15 minutes into the 1 hour kickoff show, and then it lasted about 12 minutes.
Right.
And so they had 30 minutes of kickoff show left to fill before.
And the interviews were like so cringe, man. It was like improv galore, which, is fine. But I was like, guys, this is just go back to your half an hour if you're only going to have one match. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But,
yeah, I think they were filling. But I liked the interviews, but I'm an RJ City guy.
Oh, he's fine in certain moments, you know what I mean? Like I don't watch RJ City all too often, so this was my first in a while of seeing him again. I'm like, oh, this guy's awesome. But I can see how if I had him every week or something, I'd be uber annoyed.
Nope,
So-
I am put more RJ City in my face.
Oh my god.
I want more. So anyways, then on the main show, started off we had Chris Jericho versus Ricky Starks. To start off the show, Jericho Appreciation Society band from ringside.
Right.
Ricky Starks won, right? Spoiler alert if you haven't watched, although why are you watching a review show if you haven't watched the pay-per-view? Next up, we had Jungle Boy Jack Perry defeating Christian Cage in a final burial match, which was basically just a casket match. Effectively.
I mean, I was like, why aren't they calling it a buried alive match? And then I was like, wait, does WWE even call it a buried alive match anymore? So I was thinking back to my
WWE.
90s.
Well, that's why I say this is mostly basically just a casket match, but they can't call it a casket match because I believe WWE does own the trademark on casket match, which is why they call Darby Allin's coffin matches.
Right. Okay.
But this was effectively it was put the person in the casket, slam the door.
Boom.
You know, they made it sound on the kickoff show like it was going to be more of a then lower him in and then start burying him sort of a thing, like a buried alive match or something.
Right.
Well,
the dirt was there, but then
dirt was there, but in the end, it was just put him in, close the lid,
and it drops on its own.
And it dropped on its own, and then you're done.
Right.
So, you then had in one of the highlights of the night in my book, House of Black defeating the Elite to become the new 6-man tag champions, trios tag. And I'm very happy for that.
Very cool, and they did it really well. Maybe too many spot endings kind of thing. A bit much, but at the end of the day, if it was the Elite winning, I would have been pissed. But because it was House of Black, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. That was awesome, though. Because that really had me going for each. And I'm like, oh my God, but wait, you know, so it did what
here's the deal is the false endings were all about living up to the anticipation that the Elite would just win. Because that's what the Elite does, right? They're EVPs. They make sure they win. Which, by the way, officially, it's been stated before, but I'm going to say it again. In AEW, none of the EVPs have veto power on creative, right?
Right.
But everyone feels like they do. So, but it was all based on, oh, look, the Elite are going to screw over House of Black again and everything. And the House of Black rallying past that. So, we then had Jamie Hayter defeating Saraya and Ruby Soho, which then featured the final of the what side is Ruby Soho gonna be on in the end. On the pre-show, the pre-show, I said that my prediction on who the winner of this match would come down to which side Ruby Soho chose. But that was based on her choosing in the match, and she did not. She chose afterwards.
Right.
And so, so this was the only one. I'm going to say this right now. I correctly predicted the winner of almost all of the matches except for the tag match. Because I wasn't sure on the tag match. I wasn't sure the Guns were going to retain.
Okay.
But other than that, I correctly predicted. So except for also this one, because I was like, it all depends on Ruby Soho. I did say Ruby Soho was not winning.
Right.
It was either going to be Saraya wins or Jamie Hayter wins based on how Ruby Soho did. In the end, Jamie Hayter won. And then afterwards, Ruby Soho took her thing. So then we had Hangman Adam Page defeating Jon Moxley in a Texas death match by submission. We had Wardlow defeating Samoa Joe by submission
Right.
for the AEW TNT Championship. We had the Guns beating the Acclaimed, Triple J, and Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. And then we had the match that just concluded, MJF defeating Bryan Danielson 4-3 in a 60-minute Iron Man match that went to sudden death. So let's start off with the worst match of the night. Now, not including the kickoff show.
Right. I didn't watch the actual match, unfortunately, but I did watch. Was able to watch afterwards, which showed nothing. I was like, okay, but so either way, we're not including the kickoff. I'm probably gonna have to go with the women's match. Unfortunately, I thought it was a bit. I mostly didn't really care for the storyline or where Ruby was gonna side with, and the match in itself. Like, I love, if Toni Storm was in the match, it might have been maybe a bit more exciting for me, but I don't care for Saraya wrestling. I don't care. Ruby was chill, but Jamie Hayter's also very good, but I don't know. I didn't care for the storyline in general, and I thought out of all the matches that we've seen tonight, this one takes the cake for worst match of the night.
So, I'm not going to say the women's match, although it was the shortest match of the night.
Okay.
Which does make me angry. It's kind of a tie for me in a weird way.
You're going with Wardlow and Joe, aren't you?
It's Wardlow and Joe is one of them. The other one is the four-way for the tag titles. I think I might even lean towards that one, even though it did have two of my favorites, Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, in it.
Yeah, they made it entertaining as fuck, though.
They did make it entertaining for their part, but they were also fairly obviously put in there almost exclusively to take the pin, right?
Right.
So they were very entertaining, but the match itself as a whole, like, you get them out of it. The Guns, they're heels, and so you're not supposed to like them. But I gotta be honest, I do not think Austin Gunn is very good. No, Colton Gunn, excuse me. Austin Gunn, I think, is good. Colton Gunn's the one that I don't think is very good. I don't see it in him. He just annoys me. And anytime you put Double J Jeff Jarrett in a ring, for me, that automatically gets demerits.
Yeah, but then you got Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal helped bring it up a bit. I think we're probably going to see most of the review sites list this one as the worst. So I think that's the worst match tonight. But my runner-up, a very close second, is unfortunately the Wardlow Samoa Joe match. And it's not anything against either of those guys. I like Wardlow and Samoa Joe,
Right.
both of them. Samoa Joe looked blown up about 2 minutes into the match. Wardlow, unfortunately, needs to hit leg day a lot because he's got the upper body down, but he looks like he's walking on two stork legs. And that played out. I did like the ending of it. I liked the idea of Joe passing out to his own move put on him, and Wardlow winning the match. I kind of wonder if Wardlow's not going to be just a temporary, like a transitional champion. Anyways, though,
Like he was already, though? Wasn't he already the transitional champion?
no, he had it for like 130 days.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Um,
Who am I thinking of? I guess Darby, then? Was it Darby? Who was just before Samoa Joe?
I thought it was.
I'm thinking it was Darby, no?
I
the
thought
TNT?
I thought Wardlow had it and Samoa Joe beat him for it. Let's pull this up here. List of TNT champions. Oh nope, you're right. Darby had it there for exactly 28 days.
28 days. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's right. Samoa Joe beat Wardlow for it first.
Right.
And then lost it to Darby Allin, then won it back from Darby Allin.
Right.
28 days later. But yeah, no, Wardlow had it for 136 days.
That's it. Yeah, I totally had forgotten. Well, not forgotten, I guess. It's just I really just remember Joe having both titles for a while. Hasn't been that long, I guess, but yeah.
And then lost it to Samoa Joe. And then Darby Allin beat him for it, and then he got it. Samoa Joe got it back, and now Wardlow got it here, which puts Wardlow on the list of 2-time champions.
There you go.
Sammy Guevara and Cody Rhodes still are at the top, though, at 3-time champions.
3 apiece.
But the reason I'm worried that he's going to be transitional champion is they've already booked his first match is going to be against
Hobbs
on Wednesday.
Right.
And they're obviously booking Hobbs like a monster.
Yep.
So unless they go to some sort of schmoz finish, which AEW is not known to do,
right,
they booked themselves in a corner. Who do they make the monster in this?
I honestly think he might just be a transitional, and Hobbs just gets it on Wednesday. Because they already kind of built Wardlow as the monster, and then the fans were behind him with the Powerbomb Symphony and all that. But I think it's kind of ran its course, and although the fans are still behind him, no one necessarily, I feel, is really that into him as being the top guy. We'll see, I guess, maybe with Hobbs. No one's necessarily really into Hobbs, but Hobbs' physique.
I don't know. I think Hobbs is a heel, but I think Hobbs gets a lot of heat at the shows. So, anyways.
The RJ City interview with him, though, was hilarious.
Yeah. But so that's my runner-up for worst match of the night. Moving on to most predictable moment of the night.
Most predictable moment. Probably for me, Jungle Boy winning.
Jungle Boy winning is pretty predictable. I would argue MJF winning is probably fairly predictable as well. That being said, me saying something is predictable right now is tough because I correctly predicted most of this card. So yeah, most of the stuff's predictable. So, but I Jungle Boy winning, like I said, to me this was the end of that storyline.
Yeah,
right. And the only way you end that storyline is with the hero finally being victorious.
I honest to God thought Luchasaurus was randomly going to come out at the end because they were waiting so long.
Well, that was
the casket.
That was the thing that made me think maybe Christian Cage is going to get the victory with Luchasaurus coming out to help him.
Right.
But
no dice.
Been talking for 4 hours straight already, and now look at this. I'm going to also point out the media scrum still hasn't started yet.
No, that's it. I'm still looking at it here too. I'm like, what's going on?
So,
did they forget they had a media scrum?
You must be having some technical difficulty of some
sort. For
sort.
sure.
Whether it's cleaning up MJF.
Yeah, straight up.
John Moxley still bleeding. That's the other thing. I'm going to change my vote for most predictable moment of the night. John Moxley bleeding.
Oh, yeah.
Most predictable moment of the night. He was bleeding minutes into that match.
Minutes into it. Yeah, that's it. However, Dax Hardwood definitely takes the cake, though, with bleeding for no reason.
For
no reason. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Here's the deal. Since you weren't on the stream, I actually missed that happening because I had to help my wife put my daughter to sleep. So right at the end of that tag match, I was like, okay, I got to run do this. And I came back just in time to see FTR on screen, and then it fade to black to go to the promo for the next thing. So I didn't see the Shatter Machine happen, but I did see Dax Hardwood bleeding. And I was like, I wonder why he's bleeding.
So that's it. I don't really know either, because I was like, I think maybe one of the guns one of the guns that hit him with the boot or something, and it maybe fucked up something or whatever.
Yeah,
But
who knows?
he wasn't bleeding when he was coming out, right? So
either way, I don't think it was intentional.
no,
But
no. That's it.
important side note: they called it the Shatter Machine, not the Big Rig, which is what they've called it in AEW ever since they came. But they officially referred to it as the Shatter Machine.
Shatter Machine was what NXT used to call it, or WWE
What they
used to
called
call
it in WWE, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, importantly, it's what they called it when Edge and Beth Phoenix hit this move at Elimination Chamber 2 weeks ago.
Right. Okay.
Which led to a lot of people thinking that was WWE hinting that FTR, hey, Tony Khan finally sits down for the media scrum. Can you hear it over the microphone? I can turn it down if you can.
A little bit.
Okay. Is that better?
I mean, I'm kind of listening to it too, so it might be my end.
Okay.
Yeah, I can still kind of hear it on your end, but it's fine. I mean, whatever. We're both hearing it, so it's cool. It's not bad though. Like we're definitely louder.
Anyways, so we will move on to overhype of the night.
Overhype of the night.
This one's a tough one because the matches that they hyped up the most delivered.
No, that's it.
MJF versus Bryan Danielson fucking delivered. Hangman Page versus Moxley delivered for what it was supposed to be, if you ask me. Necro absolutely hated the final burial match.
I loved it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
I was not expecting a lot from it though. So maybe my expectations were low, but I thought that was a really fun match. I haven't seen Christian in a hot minute wrestle either. So Jungle Boy went all out, went crazy, and I was excited all around for them to just
MJF comes out still
feud.
bloody and with the fucking crutch.
Yeah.
And is yelling, "I'm the best fucking wrestler in the world." I guarantee they got demonetized.
I don't think Tony Khan cares about monetization on this.
So to give
why does he never use the mic though? He always just comes into these things just randomly talk.
Yeah. So I am going to read to you Necro Eric's entire review of AEW Revolution. Now, keep in mind, Necro has said recently that he is not a fan of the current AEW product. Mm-hmm. This AEW show is horrendously bad. The Buried Alive match had build to oof. Then the tweet then later, match completely over-delivered on an absolute garbage Revolution pay-per-view. Wicked 5-star Iron Man match. Mega happy reaction to MJF retaining as he should. So the only match that he liked was the Iron Man match. I disagree with him, but again, he's a lot heavier into the deathmatch style, the pro wrestling style, and the Joshi style. So he has problems with the AEW style just in general a lot. So.
It's also his opinion there, so you know.
Mm-hmm, yep.
I mean, if he said he didn't like the Iron Man match, though, then I might be like,
MJF's using the microphone now as he eats pickles.
Yes. Fucking MJF. Oh Jesus.
Anyways, worst performance of the night.
Fucking MJF. All right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute him.
No, it is a little distracting.
It's a little distracting. Okay. Worst performance. I think I might have to give it to Samoa Joe. Unfortunately. I maybe was expecting a little bit more during that match than I had gotten.
Second shortest match of the night. by the way.
Oh, there we go. I did also notice they weren't replaying anything because I figured they wanted to try and save time somehow. But clearly, they still had a lot of short matches on top. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go and say Smojo.
Surprisingly, you say they had a lot of short matches, but only 2 matches were less than 13 minutes long.
Okay.
Women's match was 10 minutes.
They went quick though, because honestly, they didn't
had
do any
no
replays, no
thing in between. Nothing.
Yeah,
It was
no
match
segments.
after match after
Boom,
match.
match done, next match. Match done, next match. It's just the 2 co-main events, or the Moxley and Hangman page, and the other one they had the video package for and everything, and they made it nice.
So, but all the other matches were 13 and a half minutes or longer.
Damn.
Of course, the 60-minute Iron Man match was
60 plus minutes.
Officially 1 hour and 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Ah, there you go.
So 65 minutes, 20 seconds. So, worst performance of the night for me. Is tough. Samoa Joe is very high on that list. I also fucking hate Jeff Jarrett. Fucking hate him.
Yeah, but that's just kind of not fair either. You're always going to say Jeff Jarrett.
As long as they keep putting them in matches. Fuck. Learn from your mistake and stop putting them in matches. It's 2023. And we had a pay-per-view with Jeff Jarrett in the lead into the main event.
Yeah. I was worried that they were going to actually skip the entire match because
of the timing.
Of the timing of everything. And I was like, oh, okay, well, Wardlow and Samoa Joe is definitely going to be the cool down matchup. And then that was next. I'm like, are they scrapping the tag? Like, what's going on?
Nope.
But yeah,
Satnam Singh for getting both orange punched and punched in the nuts.
Right. He did good at that. He made it convincing, and
it's probably Samoa Joe. You're right. I'll turn them just a bit. Okay, moving on. Worst move of the night.
Oof. It's a lot of matches. Worst move of the night. Nothing's coming to me at the moment. I'll let you go first on that one.
So, I'm gonna give a honorable mention. You didn't watch the match. It was on the pre-show, so it doesn't officially count. Ray Phoenix hit one of the worst versions of a Hurricane Rana I think I've ever seen. It was a top rope Hurricane Rana, and he didn't. I think it was top rope. He didn't get his legs around the guy's head at all. I think it was on Arya Daivari, if I'm correct.
Oh, okay.
And let me see if this page lists it. Yeah, it doesn't say exactly who it was. I think it was Arya Daivari. Now, who he gave it to sold the Hurricane Rana, right? But he went to hit this Hurricane Rana. He didn't get his legs over. And so the person effectively just flipped forward for no real reason.
Okay.
And so that's my honorable mention. My official name for the worst move of the night was his Daddy Ass's
Famous Sir was
Famous
horrid. Sir. Yeah. I thought Singh actually got, like, was it on Singh? I believe no, it was on.
It was after the orange punch and the punch to the nuts. But yeah. That was...
And I felt like he actually got hurt though, because he didn't even do it properly, and he did it like mid-ass Famous Sir.
Well, yeah, and his foot his foot actually came around underneath
Yeah.
instead of like this. It's supposed to kind of hook over their head, and
Right.
his foot came like this, and it looked bad. It looked bad.
I was like, oh, this dude might legit be hurt though, because what the fuck was that?
Okay.
It's a big dude.
This one might be a little tough because I personally actually I think I agree with almost all of the booking decisions for tonight. But worst booking decision of the night.
Having that women's triple threat match with Jamie Hayter for the titles. I think I just because I didn't like the story, I didn't care for the story at all. I don't care whose side Ruby is on. This to me was just probably the worst storyline of the night. Christian and Jungle Boy has been too much. It's overdone, overkill there. But I just, for a booking perspective, I just didn't care for this triple threat match to begin with. Happy to see Saraya's still going at it, still wrestling. She is getting better. She's looking more comfortable in the ring,
Yeah.
so I'm happy about that.
That is an important thing to mention. Hey, Necro's on here to talk about how he thought the pay-per-view was bad. And we were actually mentioning you a little bit ago, how we knew you thought the pay-per-view was bad. We respectfully disagree, but that is the joy of professional wrestling, because we all have different priorities in what we wanted. I don't think it wasn't the best pay-per-view of all time by any means, right? That's in WrestleMania X7 level or anything like that. I would give this, in my opinion, overall a B plus. Maybe an A minus, verging after that main event. But
yeah, I think I'm giving it a yeah. I think I'd probably agree with that. A minus. That main event. Honestly, between the main event, the John Moxley Hangman Adam Page match was still fire. Wasn't a fan of the ending per se, but still a great match. And the Christian Jungle Boy match really just blew my mind too. I know Necro didn't like it, but
yeah. So the trios and the women's
and the trios. Yeah.
I loved the trios match. So I disagree with Necro on that. The women's match and the Wardlow match. The Wardlow match was one of my choices for worst match of the night, and the women's match was his choice for worst match of the night. I enjoyed most of the Buried Alive match, but here's the problem: is they didn't say it wasn't a Buried Alive match. It was a final burial match, which had nebulous rules that we didn't know what they were up until right before the match. And then they're like, oh, you put him in the coffin. And that's just a coffin match. That's all it is. It's a coffin match at that point.
Right.
You know, a casket match. WWE has had those for years.
So MJF is teasing that he is going to go up against Hangman or Adam Cole next coming. So look out for that. And he also said that the reason why he threw water on that kid is because he was thirsty.
Mm-hmm. That kid was not a plant.
No, definitely not.
Was very pissed, and AEW had to go out of their way to appease that fan afterwards. So much so that Brody Lee's widow, I'm totally blanking on her name.
Hubert,
Melinda?
Not Melinda.
Miranda?
No. Miranda.
Something Huber.
Amanda.
Yeah, they called her Mandy. Amanda Huber had to go out and sit the rest of the show with him to calm him down, and they brought him a free foam finger, stuff like that. To
where did you read that? It was just on the dirt sheets.
It's I think it was Dave Bixenspan tweeted it.
Okay,
or was it Ryan Satin? It was someone on Twitter.
Okay. I was wondering because that kid looked pissed.
Yeah. Sean Ross Sapp. Kid MJF threw the drink on, wasn't a plan. He was very upset. At William, RBR went and got him an acclaimed foam finger. Some others from AEW talked to the child to help smooth things over, and Amanda Huber was sitting with him for the rest of the show.
Okay.
GCW moving their show was the smart decision. Going head to head with AEW would not have been a good choice. Agreed there. We're gonna to move on to the next category. Worst moment of the night.
Worst moment of the night. I don't know, man. I really didn't like that chain crucifix that Adam Page did on Mox, but I think it does good for the storyline. I just thought it was too, I don't know, bringing it back to old school ECW style, and they've done it before.
I'm only angry that they missed the chance for him to use an actual Hangman's Noose for it, because it's in his fucking name.
Right.
And they used a chain. he used to come to the ring with a Hangman's Noose. He should have done it again this time.
Sorry. Worst move? Hangman Page putting barbed wire around him and doing a fucking moonsault. What?
I enjoyed it for its ludicrousness.
No, but its logicalness is not there at all.
Do a body splash.
Do a body splash.
Yeah,
Why are you going to do a moonsault?
He always does moonsaults. Moonsault to the outside is his signature move.
It's
what he do.
That's fair, but not with barbed wire. You're going to hurt yourself so much more.
Yeah, all the barbed wire matches are. Why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you wrapping your own fist in barbed wire?
When I saw that moonsault, I was just like, why? Why would you choose the moons? That's going to hurt you so much more.
Necro, I do agree with you, Gunn. I said earlier, Colton Gunn, I don't think he has what it takes. I don't think he has it. He doesn't have the it factor. He doesn't have the skills to make up for his lack of thing. The Guns retaining the tag straps are probably up there for me as worst moment of the night. That was also my actual choice for worst match of the night, mostly because it had Jeff Jarrett in it. I fucking hate Jeff Jarrett. I'm going to say it again. I hate Jeff Jarrett. I don't have a problem with him having a job with AEW as part of their on the road planning shit. Right? Their live event coordinator. That's fine. Fucking do that. You know why? Because he does have a good mind for professional wrestling. But do you know what he's not? He is not a good professional wrestler. Get him out of my ring. It's 2023. I don't want to fucking see him anymore.
Yeah.
So, worst moment for me is probably fucking Jeff Jarrett being in a ring in 2023 on a pay-per-view.
Okay.
On a top in the lead
MJF is finally leaving, ladies and gentlemen.
In the lead he's taking his pickles with him.
And he's taking his Jesus. Okay, there we go. God damn it, MJF. Can you carry someone's gonna carry the pickles for him. Lovely. Bam. Okay.
Necro likes Jeff Jarrett. You know, I knew I hated you, Necro. I knew I hated you for some reason. Couldn't put my finger on it at first, but fuck. I hate him.
Ain't he great?
Hate him so much. You know I love you, Necro. I'm just giving you crap. That is the end of the worst. So we are finally on to the best moment of the night.
Oof. I think I'm gonna. I don't know. There's a lot of moments within the Iron Man match, but I specifically enjoyed the MJF elbow drop to the table on the outside, as well as the tombstone pile driver that he did both on the ropes and on the outside too, to the already defeated table.
You know, for me, if I'm talking about moment, my probably favorite moment of the night was House of Black winning. And I know
Yeah,
that's yeah, nope, I take it back. I hate you. I hate you, Necro. I really do. It's been over a year coming. They debuted at
Yeah.
Revolution a year ago. It's been a year coming for them to put some sort of strap on Malachi Black and here's Brody King looked fucking scary as shit.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, that whole mask there was a bit much.
The
but
mask
it
and
was
then the
good.
face paint and everything, fucking scary as shit. So that was my favorite moment. Was it the best moment? I don't know.
Right.
I would agree for people who say not. Necro thought the elbow through the table for MJF was his favorite, or the Moxley pile driver. I would agree. Both of those were probably pretty good. Just a second.
Hey, you've been talking for a hot minute, bro. I don't know how you're doing it.
Yeah, live streaming the whole show. My throat's starting to give me a little bit of crap. So
That makes sense.
but so for like I said, for me, House of Black winning. But that's because I am ready for that moment.
If I were going to say within that match, I'd even say just seeing Buddy Murphy and Omega go at it. I'm like, I want a singles match between you both.
Start off with those right off the bat. I want a singles match between Malachi Black and Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
I also think that this frees the Elite up to now do other stuff that's not Trios Championship related. And I'm fine with that. Of course, I said as soon as it happened, I said, I can already tell you that tomorrow Twitter is going to be a buzz with all of the people saying, you remember how we said that WWE was thinking they were going to get Kenny Omega? Now that's certain. Kenny Omega's going to WWE now. That's the only reason he lost last night. It's not. He might go to WWE. I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying the reason he lost was because...
Well, his contract ends this year, or it
November.
ends this November. Okay, so no, it's not the reason why they lost. I just think it gives them a reason to do something else, though. Because honestly, what else are they gonna do?
I think he wrestles a chill style in America because he wrestles mostly American wrestlers. And I know you're going to point out 1,000 American wrestlers who don't wrestle this chill style, but he wrestles a mainstream American wrestler. Now, that being said, he also wrestles mostly as a face recently. And put him back to heel Kenny Omega, which I think that they'll get him now, because part of the problem, when they came back, they were the faces after the Brawl Out, right? They were heels before Brawl Out, and then they come back and the fans fucking love them, so they're faces now. So they had to play nice guy and all this stuff. But versus House of Black, they can be just fucking vicious heels again. And I think this can open Kenny Omega up to being that guy again. I also, frankly, would love to see Don Callis out of his corner. I think Don Callis...
I think he was great during like the pre-show stuff. Get him to do that or something. I don't want him.
Yeah, Don Callis. I'm not saying Don Callis doesn't have value. I want him away from Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
I think
especially
Don
if he's
Callis,
not the cleaner.
I think Don Callis coming up to Takeshita this week and giving Takeshita his card and saying, "Give me a call if you want to be a winner." I think Don Callis can bring a lot to Takeshita. I just don't think Kenny Omega needs him. I think Kenny Omega can be the cleaner by himself, right? Anyways,
For sure.
So anyways, moving on. Breakout star of the night. Now, I'm going to start off with saying who my guy is, because it's arguably the least breakout star I could choose, but I really think this is the time to say breakout star of the night for him. That's M fucking JF. he went into this match with me wondering, can he pull off a 60-minute Iron Man match with the best technical wrestler on the planet, arguably, Bryan Danielson? And he did. And there was no point in that match that I stopped and was like, oh, I don't buy this anymore. You know?
Right.
Every moment of that match, I was like, he's doing it. He's fucking, there. So while he's not like this unknown who came out of nowhere and did something, like I'd love to say Ricky Starks, breakout star of the night. I love Ricky Starks. I think Ricky Starks is ready for main event push, right? I would love to say a member of House of Black like Buddy Matthews, who did show a lot of promise tonight. I'd love to say Wardlow's breakout star of the night, but he wasn't, right? He just wasn't. It's MJF in my book. This main event was a masterclass, like Necro says, masterclass in storytelling. And that's the deal. He agrees it's got to be MJF, breakout star of the night. MJF went from being the guy who I said he's a great heel, he's great on the mic, but I don't know if he can pull off, if he can hang with the best wrestlers in the world from a skill standpoint, to me now saying he just showed me he could.
Yeah, and he did it in classic MJF fashion, but it worked. It wasn't, the whole water thing was hilarious. Like that just worked perfectly into everything. So yeah, I mean, I was going to mention breakout star. I was going to give it to one of the members of House of Black because I felt like this has been for the longest time. This is the first time we kind of see them actually get some sort of something going. And I'm curious to see how they do with the Trios Championships now and what they do with it and so on. You kind of see them. They had like a new gear look to it too. Like I don't remember Brody ever wearing that mask or Buddy wearing that.
Their entrance masks were different. They've done different makeup every pay-per-view. Their entrance masks were different this time. So there was definitely a difference there. Yeah, no, almost any other pay-per-view, I would have probably said House of Black. Or at the least like Buddy Matthews or Malachi Black. But in this particular pay-per-view, if you took off that 60-minute Iron Man match, it probably would have been one of the members of House of Black.
Right.
But
MJF does deserve his props.
MJF,
though, for sure.
Yeah, just it's above it to me. It's really tough. I think I'm gonna take the best line
off
out of the fun in the future.
Am I going to lose stars for this, Dave? Am I not going to win the Bryan Danielson Award?
Yeah, that's probably the best option because they AEW specifically doesn't do as much of that.
Right. Yeah, there's no promo setting or anything like that.
Yeah, that would be really fun to see MJF in a tournament style format where he's got to do like a King of the Ring, but in more indie wrestling or something. But yeah, no, it's probably got to be the gonna lose a star for that. That's probably because AEW doesn't do a lot of thing. I will give a runner up for best line. And that is Tony Schiavone coming down and saying, no, TK doesn't want it to end that way. He wants it to be sudden death, restart the match. If only because that stopped a fucking riot.
Right. Yeah, straight up. Fans were so pissed. Bullshit. I was like, oh my God.
And we know it was planned and everything. I mean, that's part of how this was such a masterclass in storytelling because it was planned to go that way. They knew that the fans were going to fucking flip shit.
Yeah, just how nonchalantly they just kind of were like, especially Justin Roberts. He's like, oh, it's a draw, so therefore MJF is still the champion. And they just tossed the belt in the ring. And I'm like, that's a weird way to do it. And then I'm like, okay, clearly we're gonna get another Brett Sean scenario going on here. Sudden death. Let's go.
Yeah, but so. I think we both probably agree best performance of the night goes to the same person I said is breakout star of the night. That's MJF.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Hangman Adam Page, my boy. So
Right.
he's a runner up for me. He definitely was able to show off kind of a grittier side of him for this. But again, any other pay-per-view or a pay-per-view that ended after match 8 instead of having that 60-minute Iron Man match, there'd be debate on who it is.
Right.
But in this particular pay-per-view, you know, it's gotta be MJF.
MJF.
Performance.
Yeah. Absolutely.
With a nod to Bryan Danielson, because I don't want anyone to think that we're discounting what Bryan Danielson did in that match. Every match in professional wrestling is a two-way street. It's a two-person performance or more, but it's a multi-person thing, and no single person can make a match great. They can take a match and turn a match from a horrible match into an okay match, but you need both people to be good to turn it into a great match. A really good example to talk about is, and I can't remember the guy's name, it was the Bret Hart versus I can't remember what the guy's name was. He was a nobody that Vince thought was going to be the next big guy, and he put him out with Bret Hart at a house show. And it was always considered like the lost Bret Hart match. And Tom McGee, I want to say his name was.
Well-
Bret Hart versus Tom McGee. Tom McGee was shit, absolute shit, and Bret Hart was able to carry him to a decent match in 1986. And the match was lost. No one could see it forever, and then someone was able to find a tape of it, and
I think they released that off the
they eventually
Bret Hart.
yeah,
Bret
they
Hart
eventually did
collection
it
or
as a
whatever, right?
special in the Bret Hart collection. Yes,
Right.
after someone found the tape. But that's a case where Bret Hart carried a guy from a shit match to an okay match. Right?
Nice.
Even Bret Hart, the excellence of execution himself, could not bring that match to be a 5-star classic, right? This MJF match, MJF is the star that we're talking about here, but Bryan Danielson had to be in it for it to be the level that it was, right? MJF versus Colton Gunn would not have been that match, right?
Keep dragging on Colton Gunn, huh?
Yeah. Well, but I'll throw others out there. I'll say MJF versus Matt Jackson. And this is not dogging on Matt Jackson, but Matt Jackson would not have been able to carry MJF to a 60-minute Iron Man match of this level, right? Wardlow would not be able to carry MJF to and MJ. I'm not saying carry. I'm using the phrase carry, but I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying this was a 2-person dance, and both people were necessary for this to be the masterpiece that it was. But the best performance goes to MJF because he was the one that there was question whether he could do this performance. We've seen MJF, we've seen Bryan Danielson do
it a bunch
60-minute Iron Man matches before. We know he can do it at a high
in AEW on top. So, they were mentioning some of his ROH stuff as well. And I'm like, oh, damn, he's been doing this for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
So,
moving on to underhype of the night. I think the rest of this is going to be relatively boring. I got to be honest with you guys. Underhype of the night, arguably MJF versus Bryan Danielson. Even though that was the main event 60-minute Iron Man match, It delivered at a level more than anyone expected it to deliver. You could argue the trios match under hype of the night because that was only made a week ago.
Oh,
You
that's
know?
fair. Yeah.
Um,
I'm going with Jungle Boy and Christian
you think that was the under hype of the night?
because I thought it was going to be a real shit show. So it turned out to be a great because that opened the pay-per-view, right?
No, Starks
No.
versus Jericho opened.
Starks versus Starks versus Jericho opened. Yeah, no, I think I don't know. I really enjoyed that. I don't know if it's because I was excited to see Christian back, but I thought JB and Christian worked really well together, and just really enjoyed that match through and through. So I think I'm going to go with that. I don't count MJF and Daniel Bryan as underhype, just because, yes, MJF did do a lot more than we expected him to. But at the end of the day, it was the most hyped match, and Daniel Bryan is in it to help him along the way. So I don't know. I kind of can't count.
I understand what you're saying. I don't necessarily disagree with you.
But still, you were
But
at another level super impressed
yes,
with the skill set that at least MJF had brought tonight, though. No, for sure. He made it. He went a whole nother level with that. So
like I said, House of Black winning that match since it was a
that's a fair point.
week old is a thing. You could argue that the Hangman Adam Page versus John Moxley match was under hype of the night. I don't necessarily agree, considering a week ago, John Moxley gave a bloody promo for where he literally was dripping blood all over the back stairs as he delivered the promo. That kind of makes it not under hypey, but
I am not recalling this promo.
They went. It was cut after Rampage the week before, when after the match you had Moxley versus, I can't even remember who he was versus, but he won handily. And then afterwards, Hangman Page hit the ring and beat him up and bloodied him. And then it went off the air, and then he cut the promo backstage, and he's just bleeding, and he's just dripping blood down, and he's like, "I'm on a different level than you. This is who I am."
Oh yeah. Okay.
So it's hard for me to say that's under hype.
Right.
House of Black is probably the best non MJF under hype option. OMG moment of the night.
Ooh. Man, I don't know where to go with that. You can do the John Moxley pile driver. I thought was pretty wild. The power bomb, Hangman's power bomb to the two chairs wrapped with barbed wire. Hangman's stupid moonsault with barbed wire. Although I hated it. You know, that's still oh my God, what the hell?
Curb stomp onto the bricks.
Curb stomp onto the no, it was his hand onto the bricks, no?
The hand was earlier, and then later they stacked the bricks up, and Mox curb stomped him onto them.
Snap. Okay.
And almost got a pinfall. Yeah, Necro says Moxley stuff. You could just say the OMG moment was Moxley stuff.
Yeah,
that's a fair statement.
A fair point.
There. A lot of stuff. Like I know you didn't like the ending. The only thing I didn't like with the ending of the Moxley Hangman was the fact that they used a chain and not a rope, because his name is fucking Hangman Page.
Right.
You have him come out with the Hangman. Sorry, on the thing, we got Hobbs confronting Wardlow at the.
Oh snap!
3 days, Wardlow.
He won't be professional on Wednesday though, Tony. Watch out.
Did he just touch my title? OMG moment for me though, I'm gonna list almost all of the Moxley stuff is my OMG moment. There's also another OMG moment, and it's kind of a more personal one. It was the OMG moment of me, a straight white male, realizing that MJF has cake. MJF has fucking cake. That's all I'm saying. That was an OMG moment for me. I gotta be honest with you.
Okay, no, that's fair.
But no,
Sure.
it was the Moxley Hangman stuff. I liked the ending. I just wish it would have had.
It felt like it was rushed. I almost
even if it was a
feel.
lasso, style rope instead of a chain, or instead of a. I can understand them being like, we don't want a hangman's noose on it. I can understand them, but have it be a cowboy lasso. And then he comes out to the ring because he's this cowboy shit. I'm still not 100% on the new Hangman Page intro music, but it grew on me. Because it's very similar to like Ghost Riders in the Sky, old style country song. So I gotta kick it up. Okay, best move of the night, singular move.
Best move of the night. I'm gonna have to. It's such a simple move, but I'm gonna have to go with MJF's elbow drop outside. I thought for a guy who never goes on top, I can't remember, and I just can't remember anything from the trios match where I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Because I know it was only 8 matches, but Jesus Christ, it was still a lot. So for me, I did go crazy off the MJF jump because and how perfectly he landed off on that.
The MJF jump was elbow drop was probably one of the better ones. There were a whole lot of like more of those, like you said, Moxley stuff that can be up there.
Like I'm sure there was something in the trios match, but it was so early in the card.
That's the thing. There's a little bit of like it got pushed to the back because of all the shit that happened in the Hangman Moxley match and the MJF Bryan Danielson match. I get it. There was the point where Brody King did the rear naked choke to, I think it was Matt Jackson, and then held him out over the apron so he's just hanging there. That he did with Darby that one time, which always will get a pop from me because I think that just looks fucking sick.
Right.
You know, I don't know. Maybe best move, Moxley bringing a fork in his fucking shoe.
Right. Yep. Triangle and then just stabbing him like a bunch of times. I'm like, oh my god.
Best move, whoever was in charge of the cameras to make sure that they didn't show Moxley blading this time.
Oh my god, the concerto?
Concerto was good.
Dude, that was great camera work on Plus. I was like, oh my god, that looked legitimate. Like
I gotta be honest, the when Christian Cage came at Jungle Boy with the chair and Jungle Boy swung the shovel and took the chair out, you saw the dent in that chair before the concerto. You saw that fucked that chair up. So a lot of options there. Best booking decision of the night.
Oh wow. That Iron Man match? I don't know, man. That made me believe in a whole lot more with MJF. That made me believe that he actually can go. Every time he does wrestle more and more, really holding off on MJF defending the belt so often. Because the last time we had saw MJF defend the belt was like in December against Ricky Starks. And ever since then, it's been the whole thing with Daniel Bryan. So it's just a mixture of, I guess, of just allowing the championship to defend it, breathe kind of thing.
So this is an example of why a heel champion is, I think, always better than a face champion. Because when you have a face champion, they always come out and they're like, I'm going to have an open challenge. Anyone can challenge for my belt. I'm going to be a fighting champion. I'm going to defend it. And then it's just defense. When you have a heel champion, you can tell this storyline of, nah, I'm not going to fight you. I don't want to. Right? Make me. and then they jump through enough hoops that then they're like, fine, I guess I have to face you. So finally, the matches feel a little bit bigger because it's not every day, you know. I mean, this is, like you said, you know, one of a small handful of MJF defenses.
Right. It's literally his second defense since he's gotten it when he beat Olau?
Yeah. Yep. Moxley at Full Gear last year. Excuse me.
Full Gear.
But yeah, he defended against Ricky Starks at Winter is Coming. And that was December 14th. And now
that's it. Yes.
He had a match against Takeshita that was not a title match.
Right.
It was an eliminator match. If Takeshita had won, he would have got a title shot. But he didn't win.
Right.
So since he won it back in November, he has only defended it twice and only wrestled 3 matches.
Right.
So that's a good choice for best booking decision. I'm gonna say that while I think that is probably the best booking decision, having House of Black win is a really great booking decision.
About time.
It's about time. They needed that. Having Hangman Page show a vicious side is a really good booking decision, if you ask me.
I mean, he's shown his vicious side, though.
He's shown his hardcore side before, but a vicious side is different. And I really do think we're nearing a heel turn for Hangman Page.
Okay.
In fact, I think we're going to see Hangman Page turn on the Dark Order soon and join the Elite.
Okay.
They've hinted in a couple ways. A couple weeks ago, when the Dark Order came to the backstage to talk to Hangman Page about how much they support him and how they're in his corner, in Hangman Page's locker were Young Buck's signature shoes.
Okay.
Just these little subtle things, I think, hinting that maybe he's going to reunite with the Elite, at which point he can turn heel. So I think that is arguably a good booking decision as well. But MJF, here's the deal. I'm going to not necessarily even say MJF winning, because I think Bryan Danielson winning could have been fucking epic if they did it right. So I'm going to say the best booking decision was Tony Khan knowing that crowd would not stand for a time limit draw. And knowing that the best way to rile that crowd up and fucking get them to explode at the final victory would be to tease a time limit draw and then say, nope, we're going to go to sudden death. That's the storytelling that needed to happen. And that's, I think, the best way to go there. So, and then the boring one, match of the night. We don't need to talk about it too much. It's a fucking 60-minute Iron Man match, right? Like I don't think there's a debate on this one.
Honestly, if it was a 15-minute Iron Man match, the first 15 minutes of this match sucked. It was too slow, too boring, and then they amped it up. Because
the first 15 minutes were all about storyline. Setting up the storyline of MJF is working that shoulder, that taped up shoulder. Bryan Danielson is working that knee. And all of the stuff they did in that first 15 minutes came to play in the last 20 minutes.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe I have to rewatch it. It's been a long night.
Every time there's an Iron Man match, the first 15 minutes are about setting up. That's
I get it.
you always got to think about it like it's a movie, right? A 60-minute long movie. The first 15 minutes of the movie is exposition, setting up the stuff that's going to happen in the last 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, but the whole thing with his arm was already a thing before this pay-per-view anyways.
It
right?
was.
He has been working
but
on his arm and so on.
But it's still part of the match. You got to always consider each match is a story in and of itself, right? It's all about building this narrative. Because here's the deal, right? We as wrestling fans can have this memory of the last 3 months of storyline, and all that stuff. But Tony Khan has to realize that there's going to be a section of fans, a section of people who don't watch weekly and tune into the pay-per-view. Or maybe new fans. Like that arena had...
MJF's knee, yeah, you're right about that. That is true. So that I didn't,
building up the knee, that was part of the narrative.
Right.
Working the shoulder, hurting the knee. That all was in that first 15 minutes. That all came to a head in the last 15 minutes, right? Because that's the way it's set up. You set up the storylines in the first act, you give exposition in the first act, and then it all pays off in the third act, right?
Right.
And that's the way thing. Because here's the deal: there were 8,000 people in this arena.
It just felt long,
right?
Because it just felt long to me. That's all it was. It wasn't that it was
I understand
boring,
what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. But I will point out that the first 20 minutes of almost every movie you watch, it doesn't matter whether it's a Fast and Furious movie or fucking Star Wars or the latest action drama from Spielberg, right? The first 20 minutes of each movie always is about setting up the stories.
Right.
And they can feel really slow at the beginning, pacing wise, because you got to set all the pieces in place. Because again, there were over 8,000 people in that arena. I want to know if they ever released an official attendance for it yet or not.
I feel like 8,000 people's not a lot.
Well, it's a record for that arena.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can find a thing here, because I did see
8,300.
8,300.
Hit new attendance record for the event, surpassing last year's numbers of 8,300 in attendance. Revolution 2020 did 7,000. Revolution 21 did 1,300. COVID. Revolution 22, 83. And 23 did 88. Oh, 9,000. It reached 9,000. Sorry. They constantly updated it. 9,000. This, I'm going off Reddit though. So, I mean,
Anyways, my point being that of that 9,000 people in the arena, however many there were, right? Probably, I'm gonna conservatively estimate 20% of them do not watch wrestling on a regular basis, right?
Right.
This is their night out thing. Their boyfriend / husband / fiance / friend from work / person they have a crush on / dude in a bar said, "Hey, I've got tickets." Necro says Wrestle Ticket said something around 10,000 tickets distributed. But someone said, "Hey, I've got tickets to this event. Come with me." Right? So at least, and that's conservative, it's probably higher, but at least 20% or so of that 10,000, so roughly 2,000 people in attendance at that show, are not regular watchers of AEW, don't watch it weekly. So they don't know the storylines being told up of the hurt shoulder being told up or any of that stuff. That's why you have to tell that story at the night. That's that first 15 minutes of the match. Also, you have to think about it like this. from a storyline standpoint, this is a marathon, not a race, not a fucking sprint, right?
Right.
Every that first 15 minutes, both Bryan Danielson and MJF in that first 15 minutes are all figuring out the pace because they know if they go balls to the wall that first 15 minutes, they're going to blow out with 20 minutes left in the match, right? But there was still storyline in that. The whole storyline was being told. MJF doing his stuff and starting to get a little bit winded, and then Bryan Danielson would start doing jumping jacks on one side to show that I can do this all day.
Right.
Right? This is that scene from Captain America where he gets back up and says, I can do this all day. Right? That's that scene to set up the whole storyline, right? That's that first 15 minutes. And I understand it can feel slow if you are someone who watches nonstop and knows the storylines going into it, but they have to do these matches for the people like Necro who do not watch weekly, right? Necro is a wrestling fan, but he does not typically watch AEW every week because he doesn't enjoy their product every week, right?
Right.
He has not been a fan of their product recently, so he stopped watching it as much. So from a storyline standpoint, Necro doesn't necessarily know the storyline that Bryan Danielson's shoulder has been hurting all the time, and all this stuff. So they have to tell that story at the beginning. Yeah, exactly. Says it was nice they did in-ring storytelling, so it filled in the gaps. They didn't, because they don't do as many video packages. If this was a WWE event, right, that 60-minute Iron Man match might have gone a different way because there would have been a 15-minute long video package beforehand, recapping the entire last 3 months of storyline of Bryan Danielson's left shoulder is weak. It got injured in this
Did
match.
they not have that as part of the package, though?
They didn't do any video package before this, really. And what they did...
yeah, I think it was a short little thing. You're right. Okay.
Yeah. So if it was a WWE thing, they might have been able to structure it different. But for an AEW thing, because they don't do a ton of video packages, they have to structure it the way it is, right?
Right.
Anyways, match of the night is the MJF match.
For sure.
That's fucking... I don't think there's any debate on that. We can talk about runner-up for match of the night. Runner-up for me for match of the night probably is the Hangman versus John Moxley. And second runner-up is House of Black. In fact, if I were to rate the matches, first match, top match, MJF, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Page versus John Moxley, House of Black, Ricky Stonks versus Chris Jericho. I enjoyed the women's match. I wish it had been a little bit more fleshed out. But Hayter, Saraya, Ruby Soho, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, Christian Cage, Wardlow, Samoa Joe, Guns.
The tag is your last.
Is my last.
Yeah.
Because it's got Jeff Jarrett in it.
Oh my god.
Fuck Jeff Jarrett. Fuck him right in his stupid ear.
Yeah. I mean, this didn't really tell a story though for the tag match, to be honest with you. Like it didn't really it didn't make the Guns look any better. It
told the story that the Guns can steal a victory because they can't beat the Acclaim head on. They have to beat someone else who's not a cohesive tag team,
right? Which
and the deal is, I mean, Danhausen and Orange Cassidy, this is their first time wrestling as a tag team. I guess second time because they wrestled on Rampage as a tag team and won their way into this match.
Right.
But they're not a. Oh, hold on. Someone's asking Tony Khan about Mercedes money.
Wouldn't want to comment. champion of one of our partners. Kind of respect for her. Someone any wrestling company would be fortunate to have. Very
he's
noble answer.
coaching his answer because they're not ready to announce Forbidden Door 2 yet.
Right.
And so he can't say anything really solid because Forbidden Door 2 hasn't been announced yet. And he, she is under a contract to. What did Necro ask? What did we think of Commander in the ladder match? Commander was fucking insane. I did hear that originally they wanted Vikingo, but he was not available, so Commander was their second choice. But he was very, very impressive. I would love to see him more. I know he's on WWE's radar as well. Because WWE likes to see anyone that AEW has some interest in, and I have interest too. The thing is,
but they won't use him right because they
just signed Dragon Lee, who's another phenomenal luchador, and I don't have faith that they're going to use him right. Let alone
we're gonna put him with Ray and say, "Here, guys, beat the tag team champions."
First they're gonna make him change his name because he can't be Dragon Lee and WWE. He's got to be Dragon Azteca or fucking the Big D or some shit like that.
D Lee.
And then they're gonna put him on NXT for a while,
right?
And he's gonna be maybe their cruiserweight champion for a bit, and then fucking never debut on the main roster. Because that's what they fucking do.
That's fair.
The thing is, it hasn't changed under Triple H. Like, we've had 7 months of Triple H, and
there's rumors that he's going to be feuding with Grayson Waller. So yeah. Waller is your what though? Waller is he a champion? Waller?
No, he recently had matches with Braun Breaker.
Right.
I wanted to call him Bronson Steiner or Braun Steiner because that's the better name for him. Anyways, but he lost his matches with, and so he's still an upper card guy for NXT.
Right.
But like, here's the deal.
Well, I mean, it's your first feud. That's pretty good. You're bringing in
NXT had fucking Kushida.
Yeah, that's fair.
For like 3 years.
Yeah.
And did fuck all with him. And so I'm happy. I'm happy for Dragon Lee that he's getting an opportunity. Right. I just worry, and I understand he didn't want to go to AEW and just live in his brother's shadow because Dragon Lee is, in case you don't know, is Rush's brother.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
He didn't want to live in Rush's shadow. He wanted to separate himself and be. But I think he's just going to get lost in NXT. Yeah, here's the deal. They didn't go with Steiner because of trademarks apparently, but Braun Steiner or Bronson Steiner is way better than Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker just sounds like, you remember that storyline of when they were pitching to it was Puke. You're gonna be Puke.
He's gonna puke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's a McMahon thing, right? Braun Steiner, like, you already acknowledged that Rick Steiner is his father. Just call him a Steiner, right?
That's it. I mean, it could also be his doing too, though. Maybe not want, like, okay, you guys can mention I'm his son or whatever, but just don't, give me that name yet. I don't know.
But again, it was rumored for months. He even changed his Twitter handle to Braun Steiner.
Oh, snap. Okay.
And then, like 2 weeks before he debuted, they called him they changed his Twitter handle to Braun Breaker, right?
Wasn't it a whole thing that they own the Steiner's name? Rick and Scott?
It's probably a trademark thing that they couldn't trademark Braun Steiner because Rick and Scott Steiner have the Steiner name trademarked. But fuck it. Do it. Right? Adam Cole kept his name. Even though that's not his real name. That's important to note. His real name's Austin Jenkins. But he kept his stage name. It worked out just fine for him. Fucking quit changing their names when they're already popular on the indies. Let them keep their name. Right? Fuck it if you can't trademark it. Understand. I get it. Right? But you know what? Your contract with them allows you to use their name in perpetuity for rebroadcasting and for merchandising, right? So you can let them keep their trademark on their name and just fucking use it, right? To get to this thing from Necro, Dragon Lee is arguably better than Roosh too. And that's something that I would agree with. I think almost every time you have a brother duo, one of them is arguably the better. And some people don't like to hear this, right? So I'm going to say this very seriously here. Phoenix is the better Lucha brother. Everyone loves Penta with his cool face paint and his Zero Miedo thing. That's all fucking cool and everything. Phoenix is the better Lucha brother.
That might be a valid point. Yeah.
And while I'm saying it, Nick is the better.
Oh my God.
Nick has more talent. Nick is way. I'm making Necro angry here. Not with this part, with the previous part. Nick is the better of the Lucha of the Young Bucks, and I think Phoenix is the better. I love Penta. I'm not saying I don't like Penta. Penta is this tier. Phoenix is this tier. Right?
He's just more athletic, I feel a bit. They're both amazing, but Penta has a little bit more.
Now, keeping in mind, they have differing styles.
Yeah.
Right? Penta is less of a high-flying lucha and more of a power lucha.
Right.
And Phoenix is the more high-flying all over. I'll be the first to say I've been a fan of Penta since Lucha Underground, right? He's fucking badass. But Phoenix is the better of those two, right? Scott was the better Steiner.
Scott was definitely the better Steiner.
Booker
was better than Stevie.
You're right. Here's the one. There's a twist with this one. Jeff was the better
Matt
Hardy.
Yeah.
Matt now is the better Hardy.
Right. Because he changed with his time. He changed with the times. You know what I mean?
It's tough to say this out loud right now.
Christian is better than Edge.
I'll agree with that. We'll go with the Kayfabe brothers.
Yeah.
Jay was better than Mark. It's hard to say in this time where Mark is the one left wrestling. Mark Briscoe was not the better of the Briscoe brothers. He's good. Jay was the better Briscoe brother. If we're taking kayfabe into consideration, I'm going to say something that'll make a lot of WWE fans angry. Kane is the better brother.
He did. I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't think I can go that far.
Kane had fire powers. Come on, man. Anyways.
Taker had a lot more legendary matches, though.
Devon was the better Dudley. Unless we include Spike Dudley in there, and then I'm fucking
Spike. Yeah.
Spike Dudley all the way,
Spike,
man.
Spike all the way for sure. I don't know. I don't know if Devon was the better Dudley with Bubba though. I don't know. I enjoyed Bubba.
I agree with Devon. Testify.
That's gonna be that would be a good game. Is there anyone else?
Colton is by far the inferior Gun brother. That's
Austin is the better Gun brother.
That's definite there. And that's here's the thing is it's important to note when we talk about better brother, we're not necessarily talking about better overall career. Because yes, Bully Ray had the better overall career than Devon. Devon eventually was not able to wrestle at the level. And that's kind of the thing where when I mentioned Jeff and Matt Hardy. Jeff is the more talented, or at least was the more talented
Brother
of the Hardy brothers, right? But what Jeff failed to do that Matt was able to do was adapt with age. Matt Hardy was able to change his style for his age so that he wasn't putting his body through as much hell. And Jeff wasn't. And because of that, Jeff continued to push himself and continued to self-medicate. And that's part of what put him in the problem that he's in today. Which Harris brother was better? Fuck, I can't pick him out of a lineup. So
yeah, that's fair. Me neither. I will say that Anderson is better than
Gallows?
Gallows.
Talking about the Good brothers?
I feel like Gallows gets the most credit. Anderson is the better brother.
Here's one that will make some people potentially angry. Owen was the better heart.
Oh my God.
It's tough for me to say because I've said it before. My favorite match of all time is WrestleMania 7 60-minute Iron Man Brett versus HBK. Brett's top tier for me. Owen, if Owen had not died when he did, Owen Hart's career would have surpassed Bret Hart's career. I firmly believe
not as the Blue Blazer though, man. I don't know.
Well, he was being held back. I agree, being held back. But yeah, Owen versus Jushin Thunder Liger, fucking balls out.
I don't think I've watched this match.
Find it.
Yep. Jesus, this scrum is still on?
Yeah.
God damn.
Let's see here. That. Let's see. I am gonna say this, and there's people are gonna get angry that I'm even bringing them into this conversation. Brie is the better Bella.
Oh my God.
She by far was the superior. Some people are gonna be angry when I say Cody is the better Rhodes brother.
No, I agree with that.
I firmly believe Jay is the better Uso brother.
Yeah.
Trying to think. I can't really comment on which Von Erich was the better of the Von Erichs because I didn't really watch heavily at that time. The same with Mil Mascaras and all of those. Didn't really watch them. It's not kind of my thing. So.
Randy was clearly the better, superior brother than Lanny Poffo.
I agree. Although, fucking Lanny was smarter. Sign a $500,000 a year contract for WCW just to sit at home.
No, that's fair. Yep.
Fucking. Here's a fucking hot take one. Had his career lasted longer, I think we would consider Rosie the better brother of the NOIE, Rosie and Roman Reigns. But his career did not last long
That's
enough.
a bold take. That's fucked up.
And here's the deal: Roman's at a peak career right now. But I feel like if Rosie's career had lasted longer, we would
Like 3-minute warning, Rosie.
like 3-minute morning, Rosie. I said what I said.
You fucking you go drink a whole gallon of mouthwash and go to bed with your.
I think
dirty
he was
talk.
the more talented of the Reigns brothers. We'll call him.
Fair. Okay, I don't know. This is why you should say no to crack kids, and why there's an epidemic.
The thing is, here's the deal:
in the States.
saying who was the better brother is in a vacuum, not considered. Because that's why I say Owen. Owen died before he got a chance to show off what he really could truly do. But he also was being held back by a gimmick in WWE that was not doing him any favors. Rosie was being held back by a gimmick in WWE that was not doing him any favors. But here's the deal is, watch how long it took Roman to get to the level that he's at now. Fucking, they debuted, 10 years ago? You know?
Yeah.
And he's just now finally having the run.
Well, it was like SummerSlam 2020.
Yeah.
When he came back.
Yeah. So,
I was technically in attendance for when Roman came back because it was Thunderdome.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm kind of looking here, trying to see. I firmly believe Hector Garza was the better of the Garza brothers. People will fight me on it.
Who's his brother?
Humberto Garza Jr., who Humberto Carrillo is named after, and Angel Garza is also named after.
Oh, okay.
Because they're cousins.
They're cousins. That's fair.
Scrolling down a list, and legitimately, there's some of them that I don't know, so I'm not commenting on some of them, but I'm scrolling down the list to see. Frankly, Dolph Ziggler is the better Nemeth brother. Nothing against Ryan Nemeth in AEW. He's the Hollywood heartthrob. But I did not know Io Shirai had a sister.
Oh shit!
Who also was a professional wrestler.
I did not know that either.
She is now a wrestling referee. So she's no longer active wrestling, which I think answers our question of which Shirai is the better wrestler.
The Io one.
Mm-hmm. This might be a hot take in terms of talent. From an in-ring talent standpoint. Necro apparently was familiar with Io's sister. From an in-ring talent, Bo Dallas is the
Mio and Io.
Yeah, Bo Dallas is the more talented Wyndham brother or Rotunda brother.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Never given a good run.
Yep.
But I did not know Al Snow had a brother who wrestled. He did not do much, so
we know who wins there. Yep.
So we do know what happened there. I didn't know that Ricky Steamboat had a brother who wrestled, but we do know who wins out on that battle there.
No, for sure.
I will also point out that fucking on the list of missed the boat with ring names, Ricky Steamboat and Vic Steamboat, when their real last name is Blood. fucking Ricky Blood and Vic Blood. That's fucking money right there.
Well, I mean, maybe especially back then, though, you know, calling yourself the Blood, whatever, wasn't necessarily, you know, good for TV or for the crowd or whatever. Because this is what, 80s, right? So it might not have been like a cool thing to have done at the time. If it was a 90s thing, they for sure would have done the whole Blood scenario.
If we talk half brothers, because I did mention Goldust or Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes, who are technically just half brothers, not brothers. We do have to mention Tama Tonga and Hikuleo. I'm a Tama Tonga guy, so I fall on that line there, but a lot of people would probably say Hikuleo might be the more talented sibling there. We can, I think, all agree that Charlotte Flair is the more talented sibling with David Flair, though.
Wasn't that initially when she, why she got into wrestling, or was the other one? It was her other brother, right?
Reed Flair was the one who died.
Reed Flair. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, David Flair was not good. He was in WCW at a point, no?
Correct.
Yeah, no bueno. I feel like there was a hardcore championship that he went after that was really bad.
Well, he, at one point, was fucking U.S. heavyweight champion.
Jesus.
As well as one-time tag champion. And they were pushing him like he could maybe be world champion.
I think Jacques Rougeau is the better brother.
Rougeau.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I didn't see enough of the Rougeaus to really.
I mean, me neither. I feel like I've seen them both wrestle in tags maybe 5-6 times. So, you know, I don't have a great Carlito or Primo.
Hey, if you're not a fan of Carlito, you're not cool.
I'm probably going to go with Primo.
You're not cool.
I never said I was. Never said I was. But yeah. I just hold a grudge because Carlito didn't let me sign his whole petition thing when he was here on SmackDown. My friend signed it. I'm like, oh, I want to sign it. He just takes the pen away from me. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So still a grudge there. Long-standing grudge.
Anyways, we went off on a half an hour tangent on brothers.
We did.
But there's always one that's more talented. I'm a firm believer in that. This coming from someone who has two older brothers, and I will fully 100% admit I am not the more talented one of the brothers. So this is not me just building myself up. I have a brother who's about to become a doctor. He's 50, and he's a fucking doctor.
Nice.
Necro wants to know if we want to know the weekend match rundown for the indie matches. If he wants to give us a briefing on it, he's more than welcome to.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, looks like the media scrum's over.
Oh, snap.
That.
Boom.
Okay, to read it out loud. The weekend had a few must-see matches. AZM versus Starlight Kid. Himeka versus Hashimoto. Saya Kamitani versus Hizuki. Big Vin versus Joshua Bishop. Alec Price versus CPA. Joey Janela versus Asuka and Venny. Rina Yamashita versus Casey Kirk, John Wayne Murdoch versus Drew Parker, Miracle Generation versus West Coast Wrecking Crew, Ricky Shane Page versus Vinny Massaro, Mike Bailey versus Shane Mercer, Los Masinos versus Motor City Machine Guns, and MJF versus Danielson. Motor City Machine Guns are my favorite tag team of all time. Of all time. Love me them MCMG. Anyways, but I think based on my voice and the time, and since I have to work in the morning, I think it's a very good time for us to wrap things up. Thanks, Necro, for the rundown. I'm going to have to try to check out some of those matches. There's only so much time in the world, so, but I will definitely.
W Tag Belts today said that run is over, but was pretty good. Solid weekend of wrestling.
Well, Motor City Machine Guns were recently the Impact Tag Champions and just lost them, so they had to replace them with GCW belts.
And GCW is going over to IWS next weekend, so that's a whole thing. IWS did just basically interrupt one of their shows, and Bailey has chosen the side to be with IWS. So that's going to be pretty exciting. I unfortunately am not going to that though because I'm working. But yeah, so that I know because I have a whole bunch of IWS friends, and Sexy Eddie was there, Green Phantom was there, and it was crazy. So I'm probably going to just check out that GCW show that happened this weekend. Just because a few of my Montreal wrestlers are there. So I got to check that out for sure.
And, the best tag team of all time wins belts.
And Motor City. And that's
important.
That's important.
But on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for this review. Overall, like I said, solid B+, A- overall show. I will say, and if we're talking about mainstream wrestling shows. Thanks for coming, Necro. We enjoy having you around. Even if you're a fucking Jeff Jarrett fan. Mark. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, of the mainstream wrestling pay-per-views,
right.
I will say this still is able to be classified as best pay-per-view of the year so far.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely.
But, I mean, keep in mind, we've only had 2 WWE pay-per-views. We've had 2 NXTs, but NXT ones just don't live up to what they used to in my book. So that's really not saying a ton, saying that it was the best mainstream pay-per-view of the year so far. Because, there have only been really 3. But on that note, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you're new to this podcast, we go live every Sunday night and Tuesday night at 10:30 Central Time. So make adjustments for whatever your time zone is. Tuesday nights, we do our fantasy booking show where we talk fantasy booking. We play some fun games. Some challenges. We have just a kind of fun time. And then Sunday nights are our weekly review shows where we talk about what happened in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And basically we also break down what we thought was great about the week, the rumors, and so on. Yes. Do a little bit of everything. So pick your poison. Come see us in both, like Necro usually does. We're a friendly bunch, and feel free to comment.
We also, as Necro brings up here, he's challenged us to do a match watch along with one of his matches of his choice. And we've been talking about doing a all-in pay-per-view rewatch sometime. So we're going to find a time. Keep tuned to the Twitters and all of that stuff for us to find a time to do all of that. So you can watch along with us. They're going to be watch-along format where we'll provide a link to the show for you guys to watch at the same time as us as we do the live watch along. We'll occasionally give timestamps so that you can make sure you're synced up with us, but all that. Anyways, on that note, we're going to close the book. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to follow us. You can follow me. It's right there. I can't make my hand move the right direction. There we go. Right there. I'm trying to point it this way, but it's this way. Right there. There we go. Right there. Right there. Detective Mark Smarks at Raw and Order WBU.
Just
That's
giving
on
everyone
pretty
the
much.
finger.
I did. That was purposeful.
It was.
But yeah, that's on
Or
all
on
of
Facebook.
them,
It's
except
okay.
on Facebook where it's at Pissant Podcast because of reasons. You can follow JLB at
Twitch.tv/JLBTLC25. WWE 2K23 is coming out. Rumors of the AEW game also coming out at the end of March. So we'll see what happens there. Probably will also get my hands on that one. But yeah, so I will probably be playing some WWE 2K23 by March 14th is when it comes out, since I pre-ordered it. So I will be playing it 3 days earlier. So feel free to check that out. Otherwise, you can follow me at JLB420 on Twitter, where I talk about a whole bunch of assortments of things, where I do a lot of Real Talk Radio stuff. Hopefully, I don't know, been kind of slacking on a lot of things lately. But yes, all there. You can follow me. Links will be down below in the doobly-doos. Yes. And
and like I mentioned, subscribing is a great way to support us. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a free subscription every month through Amazon Prime. So you can subscribe to us that way. It doesn't cost you a thing. Helps us out. Otherwise, it's just $5. You get access to ad-free viewing, some extra emotes, a bunch of other stuff, discounts at one of our merch stores, all sorts of great things there. Merch stores is another way to support us. Links are in the doobly-doos. We actually have 2 of them because we're migrating from one to another, and we don't want to just move all the product. It's weird. And so check out our merch stores. There's also a way you can tip us. All of this stuff is in the doobly-doos on the twitch.tv info, all of that stuff. You can find ways to support us that way. You can throw us bits live during the streams. On the last stream, one of the people threw 10 to 1,000 bits at us, $10 worth. That's fucking nice, right? Helps us out a lot. Awesome. So, because it's not cheap to do this. I mean, it sounds like it is because you just put up a webcam and there's microphones cost money, nice microphone boom arms cost money, headsets cost money, nice webcams cost money, lighting costs money. And we all have full-time jobs, so this takes away from our family lives and all of that stuff for us to do this. So if you can support us in some ways, it helps us out a ton. But the free way to support us is telling your friends about us, sharing this on your social media, saying, hey, this is a show that I like to watch. You should try to watch it too. But on that note, we're going to go ahead and thank everyone for joining us. We will see you soon.
Deuces.